are live on Universal Sports. Upcoming coverage of the 2011 AT&T American Cup, the most important international gymnastics competition held every year on American soil. The tannins in the St. Johns River actually make it look black as it flows north through the city of Jacksonville, Florida's largest city, on the state's east coast, about 25 miles south of the border with Georgia. We are inside the Veterans Memorial Arena. 8 women, 8 men, representing a variety of countries. The United States, of course. I'm Al Trautwig, along with Olympic gold medalist Tim Daggett, Elfie Schlegel, and Andrea Joyce, as you look in on Aliyah Mustafina, excuse me.
There you go.
Get my Cyrillics right. She's the world champion, and Tim, as you tell the story, she's got some diva qualities, and divas don't like to be surprised, and she's a little surprised that Jordan Weber of the United States, an American Cup winner here a couple of years ago at the age of 13, is part of the roster, is she not? We can get into all of that a little bit later, but it sets up a pretty good USA-Russia battle, doesn't it?
Without a doubt, and a little bit earlier than people thought it would ever happen. You know, a lot of folks think that this lady right there, Jordan Weber, that she is the best gymnast in the world. That is the current world champion, Aliyah Mustafina, from Russia. And like you said, she is a bit of a diva and a bit of a handful, a lot more than a bit. Had some long conversations with her coach, the head coach of the Russian team, Alexander Alexandrov, and he said, you know, it's been hard. There he is.
He calls her a diva as well.
Yeah. He said it's been hard, you know, and we really worked through a lot of things, and I don't expect it to get any easier, to be honest.
Well, and as we sat with her this week trying to get a little information and to find out just a little bit more about her and her personality, she lived up to that diva quality. She sat there with those stunning eyes and just stared us down, and there were a whole lot of das and niet and not a whole lot of elaboration on any of the information or questions that we had for her. So she knows it. She knows she's the best in the world, and she's going to prove it to everyone.
We'll be live for 2 hours, men and the women. We'll start with the men. The women will come later. We'll go live on NBC at 1 Eastern time. Here's the 2-time Olympic medalist, Jonathan Horton, who has stuck with the sport. And what kind of confidence does he bring to Jacksonville, Florida, Tim?
Well, I think he's won this event, as you said, 2 times, and he's been to the Olympic Games. He is currently the 3rd-ranked gymnast in the world, won a bronze medal at the last World Championships. He has been a little bit beat up. He broke his thumb a few months ago, and it really kind of took him out of training for almost 2 months. He says that he's about 85%, but you know, you never know with this guy, because he has all the ability. It's really gonna come down, in my opinion, to how pommel horse goes for him, which will be his 2nd event. He struggles from time to time on the horse.
Well, and his coach Tom Meadows said that he's been working like a devil on pommel horse. He said that's the one area. I mean, John admitted in the interviews earlier this week, he said, I have to become a prettier gymnast. Just because Kohei Uchimura is not here doesn't mean that he isn't striving to beat that man. He still considers him the best in the world. And yes, this field is open.
This is Philip Boy. He is the silver medalist, right behind Kohei at the last World Championships. And John not only cites Kohei, but Philip Boy as the elegance that he needs to add to his gymnastics. He's a beautiful gymnast, has tremendous lines, wonderful toe point, always legs crisp and tight together. He's certainly going to be a contender here today at the American Cup.
And he was the surprise silver medalist in the all-around at the World Championships last year. So seems like men's gymnastics, the trend is going to that clean lines, that beautiful, bring back gorgeous gymnastics.
When we come back, we will explain the format and why the men will start first on the pommel horse and the floor exercise, which is first at the AT&T American Cup in Jacksonville. We're back live in Jacksonville, Florida for the AT&T American Cup. A little while yet before the competition gets underway. Who will be in London about 510 days from now representing the United States? Jordan Weber? Impossible to predict, but you start answering questions with performances like today. Al Trawick, Tim Daggett, Elfie Schlegel. Tim, where does this fit into the Olympic scenario?
Well, it's big. First of all, if you're an American, I say this just about every year at the American Cup because it's true. There are a lot of things you want to do. You want to be the national champion. You want to go to a world, maybe win a medal, obviously make an Olympic team. But the coveted thing, you just got to have that American Cup title. It's big.
You need prestige going into an Olympics. And Elfie, we have some spy footage of Shawn Johnson making preparations to try and be part of the Olympic mix, right?
Yeah, I mean, Shawn has been talking about this for quite some time now, but one thing that's standing in her way is that ACL injury, and it's really keeping her from doing some of the pounding that you need on the floor exercise and vaulting here. Of course, she's trying to get her bar set ready. I think for Shawn, though, you know, she has all those titles, and that's not what she's gunning for. A second Olympic dream, perhaps. Now's the time because, what did you say, 510 days? Not a lot of time, and she needs to make her move right about now.
You saw her signature smile. That was footage taken this week on someone's cell phone. Now, this event, the format is a little different from years in the past, and it's because it's part of the world calendar of events?
Well, it's part of the World Cup, so actually USA Gymnastics doesn't have control over this event, and the way the athletes were chosen was purely by rank. As you look at the top-ranked gymnast in the world, Mustafina right there. So they took the top 8 gymnasts, and people that declined, then they went down the list. She's getting her number put on by one of the big stars, Zamalajikova from Russia, a double gold medalist in the Olympic Games. Tremendous floor and vaulter. Gotta love the hair, though. Look at that. I mean, we don't just got sparkles happening there. We got purple going on in there.
Changed her color too since the World Championships. Tim, you tried to throw her a compliment.
Yeah, it kind of
didn't go over too well.
No,
like a Led Zeppelin.
And how's the Chinese representative here?
She's fantastic. I just love her gymnastics. The elements that she does on floor exercise, her legs are as together as anyone I've ever seen. Her uneven bars, phenomenal. She's Chinese. She is tremendous on the balance beam. A little bit weak on the power events, on vaulting.
But generally an all-around athlete, and that's exciting to have a really top-quality Chinese athlete here at the American Cup.
Well, she's 4th in the world.
So that's Wang Quisheng, Jordan Weber, Aliyah Mustafina. Quite a women's battle. And you have Jonathan Horton of the United States against the likes of Philipp Boy of Germany. It's the 2011 AT&T American Cup coming from Jacksonville, Florida, live on Universal Sports. We're back live on Universal Sports on a gorgeous day in northeastern Florida. We come to you from the Jacksonville Veterans Memorial Arena, right next to the home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of Olympic hopefuls in the room today. 8 men, 8 women. We take you back to the World Championships in 2010. You look at Alicia Sacramone claiming the gold medal on vault. Sticking with gymnastics after some unfinished business from Beijing, and loving the news that came on the scoreboard. And that is a gold medal smile from the World Championships in 2010, and she's with our Andrea Joyce. Andrea?
Oh, Al, it is so much fun to be standing next to the best vaulter in the world. That has a great sound. Congratulations. A year ago, you were calling this a bit of an experiment. Now with the world title on the vault, would you say that this is a successful experiment, or what would you call it now?
It definitely was an unplanned successful experiment. I think I came in with no expectations, which was good, and then I did better than I thought. So it's better than coming in really high and then falling a little bit short.
Are you a little surprised at how, I mean, it's not like you're old, but are you a little surprised at physically how your body has answered the challenge?
I'm rarely surprised, actually, but I took a lot of time to get healthy and then do the extra training that my body needed so I wouldn't get hurt again. So I'm so surprised that I'm better now than I was even at the Olympics.
And also a year ago, your coach was saying, I remember him telling me, you know, Mihai said, she's really got to step it up a notch with her passion. She really has to go someplace else. Only the W is there in the wow. I mean, I remember him saying that exactly. Do you feel like you've done that?
I definitely tried to, and I think that taking the time off definitely gave me a new insight on gymnastics, and it made me miss it, so it brought my passion back a little bit. I think that's what I was lacking in Beijing, so to have that back, it's nice. It makes it a little bit easier to go in the gym and, you know, go everything wholeheartedly.
So when you hear that there's 510 days to London, does your stomach flip-flop, or do you get excited? Does it seem like a lot of time or a little time?
Seems like a little time. I still feel like the 2008 Olympics were like literally yesterday, so I can't believe 3 years went by so fast already. So it's exciting, but it's a little nerve-wracking too.
Mustafina and Jordan Weber here in this early showdown. Do you think this is a preview of what we might see for the all-around in London? And what do you think of this showdown here today?
I think they're both really talented competitors, and obviously Allie's here too competing, and I'm really proud of all of them. They're doing so well, and as you know, newcoming seniors, it'll be definitely a preview of what's to come for USA Gymnastics.
Is it fun for you to be here watching, or would you rather be competing?
I think I'd rather be competing. It's more stressful sitting in the stands and not like being able to affect anything.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing you soon down the road, and good luck with all of your training.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Alicia. Al?
Okay, Andrea, you look at Nastia Liukin, and she may be part of it too. How hard is it to come back for a second Olympics, Tim? You certainly know.
Absolutely, unbelievably hard. You know, and with Alicia, I honestly didn't think it was possible because, as she mentioned, she was so beat up at the 2008 Olympic Games. It's amazing. And, you know, Nastia, she's talking that there's still a chance for a comeback. We'll have to see. I think Andrea is going to ask her.
She's with the president of USA Gymnastics, Steve Penny. We get set for the men on floor exercise, then the men on pommel horse. So if you like floor and pommel, we've got plenty of gymnastics. We'll see all the routines as the 2011 AT&T American Cup gets set to begin in Jacksonville, Florida. After this on Universal Sports. We're back on Florida's eastern coast, not far from the ocean and the St. Johns River, and there are plenty of dolphins and manatees in the neighborhood. Some sad news in the end of February. The first executive director for the U.S. Gymnastics Federation, now USA Gymnastics, Frank Baer, passed away at the age of 80. Used to run USA Gymnastics, as it's now known, from his kitchen, and was responsible for bringing what we now know as the American Cup, the great American international tradition, to Madison Square Garden in 1976.
Yeah, he actually was battling with the AAU, and in 1970 got that recognition of the governing body of sport for gymnastics in America.
The gymnasts are in the arena. Jonathan Horton of the United States. The U.S. is actually going to have two representatives. The second is Jake Dalton. When there are last-second injuries, you really have to go into the Americans' backyard, and that's exactly what Team USA did.
But that wasn't without controversy, because it is a World Cup event. It took a lot of cajoling, a lot of negotiations from USA Gymnastics part, both on the men and the women, because technically the World Cup rules say that this competition was the way you get invited is the rank from the last World Championships. Jonathan Horton certainly did that. He was third, but Jake Dalton wasn't on that team, nor was George Weber.
And of course, you can imagine for the Russian coach, Alexander Alexandrov, was quite upset to find out that there was a second American gymnast and a very good replacement in this American Cup. A little competition for Mustafina.
Allie Raceman from Christians Gymnastics in Massachusetts. She qualified 13th in the all-around, and because of some scratches, she was able to make the competition. But here is Jordan Weber.
2009 American Cup champion. She was, what, 13 years old?
13 years old.
We all went, wow.
Yes, we did. She has had quite a couple of years, though. Battled a number of injuries. Huang Qixing from China, I tell you, she's one of my favorite gymnasts. Just absolute elegance in motion.
Well, the Chinese Federation call her the most talented in their country.
World all-around fourth place finisher, Nikola Kuksenko.
Jonathan has already won 2 of these as the Ukrainian Senkov enters.
Representing Great Britain, World All-Around 9th place finisher, Samuel Hunter.
The world
Representing
champion.
Russia, defending All-Around World Champion, Aliyah Spina.
She's a trip, I'll tell you.
And that is your men's and women's field for the 2011 AT&T American Cup. The men get started, the women go backstage to stay warm, and the competition begins next live on Universal Sports. The 8-man field in this AT&T American Cup addresses the judges, and now a warm-up period, about 2.5 minutes before the floor exercise competition begins. How's Jonathan Horton looking on the floor these days?
Very good. Actually, he has made some modifications to his floor routine. He took out one of the landings, so he just rolls out of a skill that had given him a lot of problems, a double front. He now does a 1 3/4 flip with a full twist, so he doesn't have to worry about sticking that.
Jonathan also says that for this year, what it represents for him is making those final alterations to his routines, because he would like to have at least 8 months before the Olympic Games to really have a solid grip on all his routines. So not to disrupt them, he's got some new things he's adding here.
He's done just about everything in American gymnastics, still at it. Andrea Joyce.
Hey, Al, you guys were talking a little earlier about Jonathan Horton and some of his injuries earlier this year, most notably the thumb that kept him out of the gym, the broken thumb, kept him out of the gym for 2.5 months. Only been back full training for about 2.5 weeks, says he's about 85%. And Jonathan told me the other day that makes him very nervous to come into this competition not completely prepared. So you say, well, that's a bad thing? No, for Jonathan Horton, that's a good thing. He says he does much better when he comes into a competition and feels like he's not 100%. And he will go down his resume and he will list for you all of the events he's competed in where he has done much better than he expected because he wasn't 100%, most notably 2009 when he won his first national championship. So, you know, he is married to a woman in med school, but Al, I think you got to say that Jonathan Horton is the world's greatest spin doctor.
I love how Andrea had Jonathan Horton walk right through the shot as she was talking about him. That's a veteran.
Yeah, you got it.
It's hysterical. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, and Jonathan just knows everything about every competition and what makes him tick.
Start things off here with Koji Uematsu of Japan.
Of course, Japan, one of the dominant forces in men's gymnastics. They won 5 straight gold medals from 1960 to 1976. They are currently the 2nd ranked team in the world, right behind Team China. Very nice mount. Everything, every landing has to show complete stillness. Right at the end, you see that little slide back of the foot. They'll get a 1/10 of a point off. Oh, that was very close. I don't see a flag go up, but if a foot touches the white, it is an automatic deduction. Floor exercise is a little bit of a race because you got to do 10 elements. The top 10 elements are counted in your score, and you have a maximum of 70 seconds to get it done. The gymnast took 6 passes. It's just crazy. And a full twisting double, and once again that looked close to the line.
So it was out. Yellow flag went up.
1/10 if one foot goes out, 3 if both go out. If you land out of bounds, that's a big no-no.
Well, Koji said that this is the first big event of his season. It really is. The American Cup is jump-starting his season for him, so he expects to be at the next level following this competition.
So let's look at his feet and see if any part touches the white at the end of this.
Oh, he's in.
He is in. Good job, judges.
Jonathan Horton is waiting, and we will have his performance next on floor exercise. Just getting started in the 2011 AT&T American Cup on Universal Sports. A great American reception for Jonathan Horton of the United States. Umatsu score of 14.366. He does a couple of interesting things with tape on his left arm, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. You'll notice on his forearm, he's actually covering up something. It's one of those like rubber bands, like a Livestrong thing, and you're not allowed to do that because it's considered jewelry. And on his left ring finger, he has to take his ring off. He's married. He has to take it off for competition. But he says he just feels so uncomfortable without something there, so he puts tape around that too.
It's cheaper than a wedding band.
Yeah, he's got a real wedding band though, Al. So Jonathan is mixing up his routine a little bit. He actually flip-flopped the passes. The first pass that he typically does, he's now doing it as a second pass.
Two-time former champion, won in 2006 and 2007 in Philadelphia, and right here in Jacksonville.
Jonathan Horton.
Now he's going to start out with what's called a double-double. He'll do 2 flips and 2 twists. Pretty good, little hop. Now, this is the new pass where he's going to roll out of this, and it's tricky. Very good. He's actually joking with John about that third pass there, how hard it is for him to stick it. One thing about John, though, physically, ever since he was a little boy, I remember seeing this kid, and I was amazed at how strong he was. He's very compact and very, very strong. Double back, 2 flips, 1 twist on the first flip. And a good start from Jonathan. Had some deductions in there, landing deductions, but overall, that'll keep him right in the hunt.
Is any of that considered dangerous?
Oh. All of it is dangerous.
I mean, my goodness.
You know, the rollout skills that are named after Kurt Thomas, those scare the heck out of me. And
Well, they're hard for us to watch them,
this
even as
is
former
his
athletes.
new pass, and he'll do a front flip, 1 3/4 with a full twist. Like I said, new for him.
And a little offline with the corner, so that's something he'll have to get back and fix. And this is part of his plan, is just, you know, like Tim said, rearranging his floor routine, making some alterations, and kind of coming up with the plan for next summer.
Or done that routine?
He did a scary one of those passes yesterday. He was like, oh, that really scared me. And I told him, me too.
That's the third time done?
Just kind of misses his bounce a little bit from that first acrobatic element to the second.
To the red-headed Daniel Purvis of Great Britain.
Scottish by birth.
That's right.
Well, this is a huge event for the Brits, right?
Oh, yeah. It's and you know what? I would say that the most improved team at the World Championships was Great Britain, the British men.
The Brits have always been able to tumble as well.
Oh, and that is big. I don't think that they're going to take a point on that, but that will be a full half a point deduction.
this is not only an important event in terms of the World Cup, but for Daniel Purvis and his teammate Samuel Hunter, it counts as a qualification for back home. They're having a competition this weekend to select the European Championship team. So this counts for these guys.
Wow, that was interesting. Very odd the way he rolled out of that. A lot of gymnasts slam their heels to the ground out of those rolls to kind of control the power. Wow.
Nice finish, though, for Daniel Purvis of Great Britain. The score for Jonathan Horton, a 15.066. This is the 2011 AT&T American Cup, coming to you live on Universal Sports.
For the second half of rotation 1.
Back live in Jacksonville, Florida, you're looking at Philip Boy of Germany, Daniel Purvis of Great Britain. Got a 14.633. The best total we've had so far is from Jonathan Horton.
This is a great event for Philip as well. Remember, the silver medalist, and he said that he was shocked beyond belief.
But he is very artistic, beautiful lines on this event.
Same pass we saw from Jonathan in the second run, and that was effortless and gorgeous.
I think when he won the silver, we actually said, oh boy.
Like I said, it's a bit of a race nowadays to just jam